Right, today's Sunday, May 29th, 2022. Not a whole lot going on today. I'm just gonna put it about an hour or two in. What I'm gonna be doing today is I'm gonna be welding on these convertible mounts on this frame. So just to recap, those who may have not watched the previous videos, working on a 60 Impala convertible. This is a 59 hardtop frame. Came out of a 4-door. So I sold the rolling chassis off the 60 convertible, and a lot of people might wonder why. Mainly because, well, they share the same chassis as a 59 convertible, and right now those vehicles are pretty hot and pretty popular. So I got some good money out of that. Also, the factory convertible frames come with kind of like a partial reinforcement, mainly on the arches. I believe the X had a little bit, and I believe it had a little bit right around this area on the top. Real bulky reinforcements. They really weren't even fully welded. And in order to mold or wrap a frame, you really don't want to do a convertible frame because it's kind of hard to go around those mounts. Either that or you have to cut the mounts off, or not the mounts, the reinforcements. Cut off the factory convertible reinforcements to wrap the frame, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of it being a convertible frame. So I sold the convertible frame, the whole roller with the drivetrain, because I don't need any of that. And I picked up this 59 4-door Impala frame, and I 4-side wrapped it, and now I need to add the extra pair of mounts. So on, I believe, 61 through 64, they don't have these mounts right here. So when people say we're adding convertible mounts, they're usually adding 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? But on the 59 and 60, they already have those mounts in the rear. So we got a body mount there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then the radiator support. So 12 mounting points on a convertible. So what's important to note is that if you have a hardtop frame and you want to add the convertible mounts, we also have to add the other half of the mount, which is usually a cage nut and a floor brace on the floor pan. Luckily, my car already has that, and they're already solid. So all I need to do is get the car back on the lift, roll this frame under it, jack it up, set the car on the frame, figure out where the mount goes, tack it in, get the car back off the lift, get this thing up to where I can weld the mount on, and we're done. Really easy, thanks to having the lift. So I'm going to get started on that. First thing I do is roll this thing out the way. That's the gist of it. 12 mounts total. So bring you guys back once I get the car on the lift. Alright, so here we are about an hour later. It took a little bit of finessing, but luckily I have these wheel dollies that double up as jack stands, which really makes things a lot easier. So we can cross out the sad face and put a happy face because everything lines up. I actually have the 2 front body mounts tight, and I have the 2 far rear body mounts tight. And here's what we got. I gotta weld that in place. Same thing on this side. Got a little bit of a gap, but to fill that. And then, like I said, I have the rear ones tight and the front one's tight. Unfortunately, I don't have enough body bushings to do everything, but I do have bolts. So, got slack there, slack there, and slack there. We do have a little bit of bushing in there. Same thing on this side. Slack, slack, and slack. So that's great. So what I'm going to do is just tack these in place. Actually, I'm going to test fit the back bumper first. Test fit the back bumper, make sure all that's still good with the body. Tack them in place and move on to mocking up the drivetrain. I got to order body mounts and oil pan and stuff like that. It's really a shame that out of all the work on the frame, really all you're going to see is the front half. And that's with the hood open. So Sometimes you really can't overthink the whole frame deal, but I'm gonna make it pretty, but kind of a waste. But anyways, that's a wrap. Really excited about this. Honestly, I don't even know if you need that extra body mount in this application, but it's nice to have it because actually that floor brace is original. It wasn't replaced, and actually I'm not sure that that one is even repopped. I don't think it is. I don't think it's a one piece. I think it stops in the middle, and that's a factory one piece. So it's good. Curious on how much I'm gonna have to cut of the tunnel. I know I'm a buddy with the Red Rocket, he had to cut a little bit, but this is a whole different floor pan, so might get lucky and maybe not have to cut anything. We'll see, but I imagine we probably will. So I guess I'll bring you guys back once I get these things welded in. All right, today is Friday, June 3rd, 2022, and the past couple days here I've been messing around with this Continental kit and this back bumper. So on the back bumper, it fits good now. I wish I would have went with 1/2-inch bolts instead of 5/8. 5/8 is a bit overkill, and I had to notch the bumper brackets. Well, not really notch, basically cut them into slits so that I have a lot of adjustment on the bumper because it was a little crooked. So now it's pretty straight, and it's about as good as I think it's going to get without trimming it and bringing it into the body and all that type of stuff. I'm not going to do all that. So on this Continental kit, I know I have part 1 that I unboxed it. So this is, I guess, be part 2. Unfortunately, the kit comes with some really outdated instructions, and they're for 1959. They're not for 1960. Although the kit is interchangeable, there's some differences in the way it mounts. So basically, without instructions, I reached out to a couple people who have the same kit. They sent me some pictures and whatnot. So I got the entire thing mocked up right now. I got the chrome all taped off so it won't scratch, but really this thing can only go one way. Once you figure out that way, it's easy. So I got it all mocked up, and we're getting ready to, you have to cut the bumper, and it appears that these pieces right here, which are loose, are going to get welded into the bumper on the car. So I just wanted to show this thing mocked up. I do have a spare rim that I got ready to go. Just need to get a tire on it. Don't need a tire right now for mock-up purposes, but I got the latch, the gas tank filler, the filler neck extension, which I don't even have a gas tank on the car right now, so that's okay. And then this is a reinforcement, it appears, for the tire itself that bolts to the frame. So I'm not going to be using, obviously, the center section of this factory bumper here. That's got to go. But I believe that tire reinforcement does go in these holes right here for the center section. So it's good that they're not going to go to waste, because I did spend some time measuring and drilling those. So hopefully those things measure 21 inches across from side to side. And with this thing bolted up and close together like that, it's 21 inches from there to there. And then the spring goes through it to tie down the chrome strap that goes around the tire itself. So there's not really any videos on this stuff, so hopefully people get information from this. And like I say, the instructions that come with are basically 1959 instructions, are handwritten. They have hand-drawn pictures, which will get you there, but after looking at this thing and assessing it, it can really only go one way. And so next up, we're gonna center it up and see where we need to start cutting. So I'll bring you guys back. All right, so here we are. We got the latch reinforcement bolted in. We got our tire carriers bolted in, which those bolted up to the holes of the factory 60 bumper. And then we found the center of the car, which is pretty easy because it's this hole right here. And we made a jig that's equal to the distance of the bumper end here, the wraparound, to here, which is 40 3/4 on this particular application. So we made the jig to fit that. We laid the jig on the bumpers, and that's where we're going to do our cut on inside the green tape. Should be pretty squared up with the tail lights when it's said and done. So once we do that, it should be ready to mock up, and then I have to drill four holes in the frame. I think we're getting close, so I'll bring you guys back. Go. It looks about right. If you look on pictures on the internet, it usually falls somewhere around this tail light, and then usually have two bumper guards. All right, so now we're going to clean up these cuts and bring you guys back once we mock it up. All right, so here we are. This is where we left off. It's pretty much mocked up. I need to get a tire so that we can mock the outer plates on the wheel cover and then the chrome band, and then it would be pretty much done. So I guess I'll be bringing you guys back once I get the tire. I believe it calls for a 195/70/14 or a 760/14 bias ply. I'm going to go with the radial because it's cheaper, and you're never going to see it anyways. So that's a factory 14 by 5.5 wheel that I got from my buddy, spare from the 68. Actually, it doesn't look like it's ever been used. So just to recap, we did have to cut the bumper. This thing is latched right now. It's real secure. The directions it came with were mediocre at best, but with a little bit of ingenuity, anyone can figure it out. It can only go one way. So it came with all the hardware. I believe that notch, I thought that notch was originally for the tire clearance, but it's not. I'm thinking it's for the 59 valance clearance, which is not a 59. So, but it does fall right in the middle of the wheel. So I believe that's where the spring goes around to keep the band in place. So everything's just kind of mocked up right now. We do need to wallow out the holes in the brackets that we welded to the bumper, because the holes are a really precise fit for the bolt, and there's not much room for adjustment. So we're going to wallow out those holes whenever we take it apart. That way everything is nice and loose, and you can really dial it in, like this little gap right here. I'm not liking that. We dial it in whenever we finally put it back on the car after the car's painted. So overall, like I said, it came from Continental Enterprise in Canada. It was not cheap, but to me it's a must-have. So next up for this car, I'm going to go ahead and cut this Continental kit video off. Next up, we're going to be mocking up the drivetrain. I've got a LT1, a 2018 LT1 Gen 5 Chevrolet, and a 6-speed transmission automatic. So the floor pan needs to be cut. The transmission mount did come yesterday, so we got that. I got the motor mounts, I got the sliders, I got an oil pan, and I got a transmission pan. So I have everything to mock the motor to the frame. Or I should say engine to the frame. And we're going to end up welding the motor mounts to the frame. I'm going to be using the original small block mounts with the dirty dingo sliders. Waiting on the suspension, should be here next weekend. So the next step for this thing is going to build a rolling chassis out of all the stuff that I've been collecting. Make sure everything lines up, make sure everything functions, and then blow it all apart and make it pretty. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Bring you back when we get some more work.